from Park Aero Modelers Club. It's the rebirth. It's my FREEWING Vulcan 2.0. The cost, the other Vulcan that I crashed about a year and a half ago, something like that, it destroyed the canopy on the inside, destroyed the front of the fuselage. The one wingtip was broke. There was damage to the elevator. The front nose gear was completely destroyed. And there was some other internal, wing was cracked. I mean, I hit pretty hard right out there in the, but I tried to check the CG inverted, which do that when you're really comfortable with the plane, not on the Maiden. So the cost of replacement parts versus just saving up to get a new one, I just got a new one, and I got about a lot of extra parts. Put the same livery, I put the included decals on it to add to what was already on it. I'm running a 4000 Sokokin 6S in there with an 80C discharge. I've got the Lemon RX stability receiver with the long diversity antennas. And those lights, all those lights on there are normal. And a little windy today, but then again, I won't be using flaps. Let me just show you the flaps. That's takeoff, that's landing flaps, but I won't be using flaps because the wind is about 10 to 15 and it's coming right down the runway, so I won't have to have, my only danger is going to be coming in for a landing and getting a little bit too much wind, unequal wind underneath the wing and flipping her over. That's going to be the only thing that's a danger with this kind of wind. But other than that, I'm going to fly on my low rates because it's a Maiden. And once I land it, I'll probably try her again in the high rates or the middle rates. My low rates are 70% over 20% expo. My mids are 80 and my high are 100. But that's with 20% expo all the way around on all three of those. So that's low rates, right, left, up, down, right, left. All right, let me get back here behind my camera baby. Sounds like we got another storm coming. We're actually flying between storms here. I'm gonna put her in high rates to taxi her around. Okay. Going to use the whole runway. Back to low rates now. Like I said, all right, right, up, down, right, left, down. All right, here we go.
Gear up. Time remaining 3 minutes. Gear down.
All right, that was a wonderful landing, but I can tell you right now, I'm gonna go to mid rates. Give me a little more elevator authority. So we're gonna try it at low rates. Man, is it windy. I mean, we're gonna try it at mid rates. That's 80% over 20% expo. And we may even put a little bit of flap in, maybe takeoff flaps.
Gear up.
Yeah, definitely got a lot more authority now.
Time remaining 2 minutes. Landing flaps.
See how well she flies landing flaps down. And she's not wanting the nose in at all.
Flaps up. Gear down.
Uh-oh. Starting to feel rain. All right, get that wind to slow me down.
Landing flaps.
Oh man. My nervous. Woo, nervous.
Flaps up.
Nervous Nelly. That's okay. She's flying great. It just is so windy right now. But if I wait for the perfect day to fly, then I'm rarely ever going to get to fly. All right, this hopefully it'll be maybe one or two more.
Gear up.
All right.
Time remaining 1 minute.
All right, we're gonna bring her by here.
Gear down.
Put the gear down. Yeah, it's windy up there.
Landing flaps.
Yeah, it is windy out there. It is windy. All right. Got 30 seconds.
Flaps up.
We'll go up one more time. Here we go.
Landing flaps. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time expired.
All right, successful maiden and no crash. Thank you, Jesus. Oh boy. All right,
Flaps up.
that was so important for me. Let me just tell you a little bit real quick. All right, good looking plane. All right, oh yeah, let me show you something else real quick. Something I discovered about this Vulcan. I know it may be out of focus right now, but watch this.
Braking.
This was not, I didn't have this on my last Vulcan.
Brakes off.
Didn't have that on the last Vulcan. So you'll need a 7-channel receiver if you're going to use all 6 channels, and then you want to have reverse function, you'll have to have a 7-channel receiver. Prop secured. The reason me taking off and landing successfully on the second time I took off is because either the second or maybe the third, when I took off on that first Vulcan, what, 1.5, 2 years ago, I crashed it right out there where I crashed my F-16 at that far telephone pole. And I mean, she was up maybe 70 feet and went nosed right in. I mean, I got upside down, got disoriented, and down she went, just obliterated the plane. So it was important for me to do a complete flight with no crash. Now, this receiver is a Gen 2. You got that okay? Honey? Okay. This receiver is the Gen 2 stability receiver. It does have safe. Now, folks, I ain't gonna lie. This receiver is very confusing on how to set it up. Now, by default, it comes with a conventional wing setup profile. So that's great for this, but it can also do delta and V-tail. But anyways, trying to set up the safe and the AS3X and everything, it's something you really have to have those instructions up on a big board in front of you and follow it step by step. And the problem is that you have to press a sequence of buttons and you have so long to do it in, so it may take several attempts, but it's just like it was with forward programming when that came out. It took me 7 or 8 times to finally get it nailed in. So there's a little bit of a learning curve there, but solid range. It's a third of the price of a Spectrum receiver, just like it. If you were to try, you can't buy a 7-channel Spectrum receiver with AS3X and safe. You can't buy a 7. You can either buy a 6 or you can buy an 8. Well, the 8's $130, $139, okay? The 6-channel for this like this is, I think, 84 for the AR631. You know, if you want double antennas, then you're going to have to pay the $114 for that AR36T, whatever it is. And but this is only $39, or maybe $29. I think it's $29 or $32. Anyways, it's a third of the price, and it's got just as good range and just as good stability and it's locked in feel. I'm very, very confident with these Luminar X, these Gen 2s, and so it's worth the money savings for the little bit of learning curve on how to set it up. It's not hard. If I can figure it out, you can figure it out. That's where I've got the 4000. Now that's the Sokokin. If you look at the wooden tray, I maybe can put one of my fat fingers down there in between the firewall and the battery in that wooden tray, and that's where she CGs. We'll show you the battery, what's left on it just a second, but I want to show you CG on this plane. There's a line of yellow tape, and right underneath that tape is that CG mark. Well, let's put the gear up because you don't normally fly with the gear down, okay? And if you put your finger, with this wind, this may be hard to do, but she pretty much right there. I mean, I'm trying to keep a closer grip on it, but she's pretty good right there. So putting this thing together was a breeze. Because that, oh yeah, and that's the 7-channel. That 7th channel or auxiliary 2 is where I plugged in that reverse function. That's that little yellow signal wire that is paired up with the throttle cable. You just plug that in that 7th channel, put it on a switch. I put mine on B, and there you go. Let's take the battery out. You can put up to a 5,000 in here, but a 4,000 honestly is about perfect. A lot like the Avanti, the FMS, the 80mm Futura. Of course, that better than usual. Just about had to break the plane to get that Velcro in there to get. Plane does as soon as you take the battery out, right? It automatically rocks back. Oh, very nice, strong pin holding that canopy in. But see how that plane automatically rocks back on its tail? Nose comes off very easily. And but they've done what they should do with all EDF jets. They got a plastic piece that's molded in right there because they've already know. This is why they're paying attention to their customers. They already know that plane's going to sit there on its tail. And then whenever you've got the landing, you do a wheelie, you know, because of rough terrain or something, that tail is going to hit. Well, that plastic will take that abuse instead of marring up your phone. So that's just a little touch that you don't see that in the advertisement. You don't discover that, see? You don't get it until you get it home, put it together. You're like, well, the dang thing sits on. Very few EDFs will sit flat without a battery in them. Without a battery in them. Oh my goodness. All right, I flew for 3 minutes and 5 seconds, okay? No, yeah, 3 minutes and 5 seconds. I still have 62% left. So that just tells me that you could fly on a 4,000, you could fly a solid 5 minutes of however way you want to fly. I mean, if I flew for over 3 minutes and I still got 62% left, and I did what, 3-4 takeoffs and landing. Taking off, it really eats a lot of juice. And high speed, you know, all that, yeah, 5 minutes on a 4,000. So it's a very efficient EDF, which is great. That's that. Efficiency equals money savings. And look at this. No cheaters. No cheaters on the side. Just the regular inlet, okay? The decals around the edges will kind of start to come off. Just put a little bit of that foam tack on your fingers, run that underneath the edge of the decal and then kind of smoosh it in, and then you won't have that problem. That's just a little trick. I won't charge extra for that. These decals, the Motion RC and the 70, this right here, this is what they give to you extra, and I put it on both sides. Other than that, the pinstriping, all this is already applied. The decal on the underside is already applied. And not to mention, she's this bright, vibrant yellow color. I'll be putting a clear coat, I'm out of it, and on here, and that'll really bring that yellow, will pop even more. It'll pop, but I do that too well. Negatives, tons of positives. Hello, girls. Hello, hello. It's our audience there. Tons of positives. Very stable, very fast. This thing is rated to go way over 100 miles an hour. With that kind of battery, could have gotten probably 120 to 100. People are getting 137 miles an hour out of this thing. I'm not in it for the speed. I'm in it for just the fun flying. It's a great sport jet. Great flying plane. My negatives. Now that I have to think about. This plane, $279, and me, I'm a YouTube reviewer. Some companies send me planes for free. You know what this plane cost me to bring it to you today? $279. So when I tell you that it's a great plane, or if I tell you it's a bad plane, the money has nothing to do with that. I know I'm thinking, well, yeah, you paid for it, you can cut it up. No, I get planes from Hobby Zone, other companies, they'll give me a plane for free for review. I'm going to be the same way. I'm going to tell you if it's a pile of crap, but I'll tell you why it's a pile of crap. Because the companies I deal with, like Hobby Zone, they want to hear my input and then they'll make changes. They will. On customer reviews, they get people like me and people like you say, hey, change this in the plane. They'll change it. They will. I mean, it's not overnight, but they will. But my negatives on this plane is I would love to have lights. You got the trailing link, you added reverse in this version, and you didn't tell anybody, you just added, because the last one didn't have reverse. But molding in some lights would be absolutely awesome. That would just, you know, even if you increase the price, say by 10 bucks, that would just make this plane perfect. It really would. Maybe a clear canopy with a pilot, but lights is something I definitely would want. But other than that, I have no negatives. I mean, you've done things that you've listened, you know, the nose cone comes off. It's even got a wooden reinforcement on there. The gear is amazing. Too windy, the grass is too thick to try it on grass, but I think this thing has enough power and sits high enough off the ground where it could do grass. Anyways, that's enough. I'm rambling on. I really can't come up with anything negative other than I'd like to see lights. But other than that, for what you get, awesome, awesome, awesome plane. Folks, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. God bless y'all. And don't forget, faith, family, and friends, and Vulcans.